This is great news, but I'll believe it when I see it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Black Lives Matter Rhode Island co-founder Mark Fisher endorsing Donald Trump for president in 2024. He is on the Trump train as one of the co-founders of that state's Black Lives Matter chapter. Now, of course, this is not one of the people who founded Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, Patrisse Cullors, not one of the black lesbian Marxists, big large mansions, big long money, not one of them, but he's still in the mix saying, hey, I don't like what's happening right now with Joe Biden. I'm going to go a different direction and vote Donald Trump in 2024. Now, before we get to his interview on Fox, let's just talk about something briefly. Now, I hear all kind of promises. People say, okay, we're going to take the black vote from 90, 95, or maybe like 85 on a very, very, very low end. We're going to take those numbers and go all the way to 50% or better voting for the Republican Party. I highly, highly doubt that. It could happen, but if it does happen, it won't be in one campaign cycle, okay? You can't just see some numbers from 2016, 2020, and then expect for them to just reverse in such a drastic fashion. That's not going to take place. But if we get 20%, 25%, maybe even 30%, that'll be tremendous. Any kind of shakeup in the number, 1%, 2%, is going to cause the Democratic Party some serious trouble, and I'm all here for it. Now, before we go any further, let's get into the actual news clip. If you want to see the clip in full, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Black Lives Matter Rhode Island, Mark Fisher. Mark, thanks so much for joining the program. This is my favorite story of the day because it identifies with what I've seen in the barbershop. All the brothers, for some reason right now, are turning tides right now. And I just wonder, what is the big reason?
I don't know about saying all the brothers. Come on, Lawrence. You know that's not necessarily the case. You're going to hear a lot more people be vocal about voting for Trump and whatnot. And it was the same thing 2020. And we see what the results were. It was a slight difference, but not to the point where it was like everybody in the barbershop, my uncle, my pawpaw. It wasn't quite like that, although there was a difference. I think we need to be real and realistic with our observations so we don't have unrealistic expectations. But I digress.
I think personally it's the duplicity of the Democrats, the hypocrisy. We're not stupid. The brothers are not stupid. We understand when someone's for us and when someone is not. And it's obvious that the Democratic Party is not for us.
Yeah, I can't.
Their policies actually strike at the heart of the black family and the nuclear family.
Yeah, so, you were a part of Black Lives Matter. You founded it there. And now you're saying, you're not saying the entire Republican Party. You're saying Donald Trump. So what is it about Donald Trump? Is it the economics? You noted the black family. What is it going to take for him to shore up this support amongst black voters?
That's a good question, Lawrence, but I'm going to say this. The Republican Party can't just be one person because Trump has a shelf life. Okay, Donald Trump gets a nomination this year, and 2024 he wins. That's it. There's no more Donald Trump after this term. So then what do? You still got to have a life after Trump. There's got to be more of an investment into the core values of the Republican Party and not just one person. It's great to support Trump. I say Trump 2024, but it's got to be more than that. And that goes black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. It doesn't really matter the color of the person who supports Donald Trump or the Republican Party or conservative ideology. Let's keep on going.
Well, I just think that it's going to take information. A lot of people are misinformed. They don't really understand because they don't educate themselves on Donald Trump as a person and his history. But if they do that, and it's going to take, leaders, educated leaders getting the word out there, I think that it'll happen on its own and it'll be organic because personally, I love the man. I mean, how could you not like If a real man, how could you not relate to someone like that?
Yeah, he watches every morning, so I'm sure he's cheering as you're saying this. We looked at some of the polls for Trump over Biden in the battleground states. In 2020, it was 8%. Now in 2023, he has 22%. And
that is a really significant swing. That is a huge swing. If this poll is accurate, if this poll is correct, that's going to be a huge swing in the numbers. And I think this could be in part due to President Biden's poor performance. Very poor. The whole country and the whole world is suffering as a result of his performance. So this could be part of that. Hopefully what we're seeing right here on screen, hopefully that carries over into the election 2024.
It's not black men. So the election is right around the corner. If you had the opportunity to talk to the former president, I'm sure he's watching right now, what would you tell him?
Call me on my cell phone, man. I'll stop for Trump.
Mark, I'm fascinated by you. Why did you end up leaving Black Lives Matter? Or are you still affiliated with it?
No. I'm still affiliated with it. All day. Because the thing about it is my message that I preach and that I tout is unity. It's a message of unity. It's unity driven. I want to bring together all the marginalized groups from the margins and bring them to the center, because we're stronger together as a one nation indivisible under God.
Yeah. Let's pause right here. I actually met with a Black Lives Matter leader here locally in Tennessee. And he kind of reminds me of this guy. Like, they're regular people. The normies on the ground that may be affiliated with Black Lives Matter, they are not really into the radicalism. A lot of the violence and whatnot you see are people taking advantage of these so-called protests. You got some people that are aligned with Black Lives Matter that get involved. Then you have Antifa. Then you got the federal agents. And you got a whole mess. It's similar to J6. It's similar to that. Now, I'm not going to say that it's the equivalent to it. I feel like there was a lot more federales and law enforcement and whatnot in J6, and also leftist Democrats, infiltrators involved with that. But that's a different story, and I digress. The whole point is that a BLM riot could be a lot of BLM people, but it might not also, but it may not necessarily be that. Guys like this, regular normies, they're not going to be involved in the violence. The people that I met that I know, there are a lot of others, however, who could be linked to the cause and someone on the outside that would engage in the violence, if that makes any sense.
Mark Fisher, I think all Americans can go with a message of unity. We thank you so much for coming on the program. I hope you'll come back and check in with us.
So there you have it. That's Lawrence Jones, and he's interviewing Mark Fisher, the co-founder of Black Lives Matter Rhode Island. Again, not one of the big dogs who founded Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation, the original crew who started the Summer of Love, George Floyd 2020. He's not part of that, but he's part of his own thing over there in Rhode Island. But good interview. I like the optimism. And again, I don't want to set expectations too high, because a lot of people were trying to attack Candace Owens talking about, oh, she promised black liberation and it didn't happen. It's like, what you want her to do? You want her to change a voting pattern that existed before she was born, probably before her parents were born. I met her dad. Her dad's like not even that much older than me. Okay. So you want her to change a pattern that's been here forever in what, a year, 2 years? I mean, come on, man. Like, really. And it's one person. You're talking about millions of people, dozens of years. I don't really understand. But as I close, I want to say this. I think we can turn it around, but you got to have realistic expectations. You can't just expect to go from 95% voting for the Democratic Party for the past 50 years to 50% Democrat, 50% Republican. That's ridiculous. Just take baby steps. If you can get a lot of the men, because historically, men tend to vote more conservative than women. If you can get a lot of the men in the community on board, then get them to get the women and the kids, and you'll start to see a gradual impact that way. If you're just looking for an immediate, instant gratification, microwave, spontaneous success, you're barking up the wrong tree. But I like what I'm seeing right here as a start to the process. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on this interview with Lawrence Jones and Mark Fisher from BLM Rhode Island? Do you think that there is a chance for the community to turn it around? Will it never change? It'll be 95% forever. Although at one point it wasn't that way. Will it be like that forever? Is LBJ Lyndon Baines Johnson correct? Or was he correct when he said, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I like what I see here. I like the optimism. I like guys who are, for all intents and purposes, leftists, saying, hey, I don't like what's going on with this guy in office. I'm going to go with the other guy. I'm going to go with a more conservative guy. I like that thought process, because what that means to me is that maybe this guy, if he has a wife and kids, they'll grow up understanding that, and then they can make better decisions. They won't be so brainwashed to believe that anything conservative is bad and everything Democrat is good, because obviously that's not the case. Things are more nuanced than that. I want us to use our brains and to think critically about things before we do them, rather than just operating off of peer pressure and history and tradition that is not serving us well at all. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.